The other candidates are here, including Todd Pritzky. Todd, thanks for jumping on the show. Again, a Fletcher resident running as an independent. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you jumped into this race.
Well, I've been a Fletcher resident for 15 years, and I jumped into the race, I guess, because I have a one-year-old son. I just turned one, actually, 2 weeks ago today.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And that kind of changed some of my perspective about things. I've been involved in peace and justice activism for a number of years, and trying to figure out, how I can create an environment in Vermont for him to grow up in and thrive in, and also then, raise his own family here, and presumably some of our other children as well. I am a telecommunications professional as well as a stay-at-home dad. At this point, I'm mostly a stay-at-home dad. I still teach telecommunications down at Champlain College in Burlington, but I was in the corporate world. I was an employee and a manager in a small business that did telecommunications training and consulting, all over the country and all over the world, but worked a lot with corporate America, federal government, state government, as well as academia. And I looked at this being kind of a watershed year. We really have issues with reapportionment, some things that actually Ron and I have talked about with our district, as well as the need to push forward in a 21st century kind of economy. And I thought telecommunications was going to be a large part of that, so I felt there was a time for me to maybe come in and try to shape a little policy.
Have you run for anything before?
I have not even student council. I actually was nominated once and I declined.
I think the one thing I ran for some decades ago. Anyway, well, good to have you in the race. Lynn Dickinson, St. Albans Town Republican. Hey, Lynn, seeking a second term in the Vermont House.
That's right.
Tell us a little about yourself and why you'd like to continue your stay in Montpelier.
Okay, well, I am a resident of St. Albans Town. I've lived in St. Albans in Franklin County for a little over 37 years. We moved here when my husband got out of dental school, and we've raised our family here and got involved in the community in I guess, a pretty substantial way. Among other things, I've served on the board of the local mental health agency. I have I've run for school board. I've been trustee at the board at BFA in St. Albans. I ran and worked hard to make that into a union high school, and eventually got elected to the school board in 2004. I work as the business manager at the office. I feel it's a real privilege to represent the people of St. Albans Town, Fairfield, and Fletcher down in Montpelier, and I've worked really hard at it. I meet with the school boards and with the select boards, and I've worked really hard on a variety of issues. I primarily ran because I realized that what we really need is, as the economy was starting to have some real problems, that we really need private sector jobs in the state. And I worked on that. That was one of the issues that we had in the Commerce Committee these past 2 years, and obviously the second big goal was increase our broadband telecom capability across the state.
Very good. Representative Horrigan, no stranger to these parts, no stranger to Montpelier. First elected, Dick, back in November 1994.
Right.
And you'd like another 2 years in Montpelier.
Yes. And
sounds like a decision you wrestled with a bit, but you decided to go for it.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Richard. And I'd like to thank Channel 15 for the opportunity to discuss maybe some of the areas of interest to me. It has been a pleasure to serve the constituents. Actually, I've been involved with volunteer work for a number of years. Started with the fire department and also with the water district, and also working with, right now we're starting the Friends of Chester Arthur, and I served a couple of years in the Peace Corps, and this actually...
One of the first Vermonters, if not the first to do so?
Yeah, near that area. It was in 1964 to 1965. We were in Ethiopia. But it's been a pleasure, and it's based, I feel, heavily on helping the constituents. There's areas that different times they like to have you intercede for them or actually find certain sources that they need some help in. And I enjoy this. I believe this last couple of years, it's the first time I've served in transportation, but I believe we were able to leverage with the stimulus money beaucoup roads this year. If you've noticed many of our roads.
I have noticed that.
And I believe that in that one area, I felt that it was our turn to get a fair share of the scoop. And there's a couple other areas that I would like to concentrate on the next 2 years. We'll talk about those later.
Okay, great. Would you like to be back on House Transportation Committee if you're reelected?
Yes, I would. There's about 4 roads that I think are prioritized, and different members in in the area have asked me to work on this, and that's the workers in that area, actually the ones that well, they didn't break my arm, but they said get back down there and do some more of this.
Okay. Ron Allard, I guess, elected back in '94 when Richard Harrigan was elected. Ron, your first term in the House, and had served continuously. Didn't make it last year. Ran unsuccessfully for election 2 years ago, trying to get back there. And again, a St. Albans town Republican. You comfortable running under the Republican banner, Ron, having been a former Democrat?
Well, yeah, I'm comfortable running under a Republican banner. I've always been a Democrat. My family was always a Democrat. Over the last few years, they've kind of drifted away from that, seeing that the Democratic Party kind of drifted away from, you know, it's not the same Democratic Party that it used to be. You know, I was raised in St. Albans and educated in St. Albans, and my father always was interested in politics and encouraged us to, you know, give back to our community. So that's why I originally ran and got elected in '94. I was targeted by my own party because I voted, you know, you take an oath to do what's best for the state of Vermont, and I pretty much lived up to that. And so I was targeted by my own party, and which was fine. And so I was encouraged to run by the Republicans this time around, and so that's why I'm here.
Here you are.